All right, should we get started? All right, hi everybody. I'm Liz Georgie. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Suna. You're at Denver Startup Week if you haven't figured that out already. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, so if you have energy at all, congratulations. It's because they are just plowing you with energy drinks and coffee at every station that you go to. This session is a founder track session, and this session is about adding to cart. So how many people in this room have an e-commerce business or work near e-commerce and are trying to figure out how to convert customers? Okay, a good percentage of you. That's great. Awesome. For those that don't know, Add to Cart is my YouTube show. You can go on YouTube, search Add to Cart. It is a YouTube show that celebrates creativity and commerce. So we talk to other e-commerce store owners about the strategies they use to improve conversion and to use creativity strategically to increase the size of their business and grow their business. And after having many guests on my show talking about every kind of business imaginable, I decided to bring you a guest who's never been on the show before. This is Alex Ryden of Guest Shops. Everybody give Alex a round of applause.
Thanks for coming.
So Alex, let's dive right in. Just tell the good people here, what is Guest House?
Yeah, so Guest House is a real estate staging business that turns homes on the residential real estate market into furniture showrooms. So we work with real estate agents to distribute lots of furniture and decor and art into beautiful listings, and then the home buyer can purchase everything inside with a tap of a button. And we have this wonderful flywheel where it's really win-win-win, helping agents and home sellers sell homes for more money faster than ever. And then we hope home buyers move in. If show of hands, who's bought a home recently or in the past year? Remember that awkward moment when you purchase it and it's this huge moment in your life, and then you get the keys and you open it and it's completely empty? We want to change that. We want people to move in and have a beautiful home that's beautifully designed from day one. So you can have dinner parties, night one, relative stay over, weekend one, all that exciting stuff. And yeah, that's what we're building.
One of the things that I think is really interesting about Guest House, though, is that if I walked into a real estate listing and I don't want to buy that particular house, I can still go shop online for all the products I see in the store. So help people understand the e-commerce connection to your experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So every home that we stage, we don't just stage with furniture and then leave. We actually have photography as part of our business. So content is at the heart of Guest House. Every home, after we distribute the furniture inside and style it with our awesome flock of designers in each market, we photograph it. So we photograph every room and have beautiful imagery that we retouch in-house, and then we get the home listed online, and you can shop it from anywhere in the US. So if you love the way that living room looked or that office looked, you can, in one tap or one click, add it to cart and check out. Not to play on your series too much.
Well, that's how I came up with the name, is that
makes sense.
I have been accused of being witty before, Alex.
It's very witty.
No, so it's an IRL shopping experience, but it's a digital e-commerce experience, and it's also literally a real estate transaction experience. So there's sort of these three selling modules to your business.
Yeah, so the real bread and butter business that distributes us into lots of homes is the residential real estate market, and that's the staging business. And then by way of staging lots of homes, we produce lots of content, and we turn those homes into showrooms for people in real life and people online. I like to think that long term we could be building the Netflix of interior design, because we're producing hundreds and hundreds of living rooms each week that you can shop anywhere on the planet. So content is so much a part of our business that we'll continue to invest and scale that as we scale to new markets.
So it might seem really obvious to people to buy a couch or a chair, but one of the things that is really interesting about your business is the way that you also inject more personality items, things like local artists, paintings, and tapestries and blankets and other types of goods and textiles that sell really well online, and also are giving those homes kind of this custom touch, and also giving you something to sell in e-commerce that's really rare. Talk about those items.
Yeah, so our business started much differently than it necessarily looks today, as a lot of as is the evolution with a lot of startups. But when I started the company, I had this crazy idea that I would be the first staging business that didn't have a warehouse. So we sourced all of our artwork and decor and furniture from local makers across Colorado. So we would have a listing from an agent. We'd say we can do it. We had no furniture, but I would be like, yeah, we can do this. And then we'd ping our network and say, we've got this amazing listing coming online. It's a chance to showcase your goods and get in front of home buyers. And then it also would be, amazing content opportunity. Everyone gets free photos, and artists really love free photos and ways to market their business online. So we very much started with the makers, and we started to grow the business through 100% consigned maker inventory for like the first 10 homes. I still don't know how I did it, or we did it. It was crazy, but we would just, let the community know, and we would deliver on time, and the house would be gorgeous. It had all these locally made pieces. And then as we evolved the business, we realized, okay, there's a lot of things we have to prioritize here. Like, number one, where's most of the revenue coming from? It's agents. Well, what do they really need? Well, they need it to be faster and more consistent, and having this community-sourced approach to our supply chain was not enabling us to do that at scale. So we started to buy product from brands, but we really looked around at the right brands to start to work with at that point that would appreciate the content piece. So we work with a lot of direct-to-consumer brands like Article. We work with Apartment 2B. They said, this is great. We don't have showrooms in these markets. If anyone knows Interior Define, they have a showroom now in Cherry Creek. We were their first showroom in Colorado. You used to click Colorado, and it was all of our homes. So we just saw this huge content opportunity for them, where we really brought them into the ecosystem and started to generate tons of images for them. So if you've heard of Havenly or Interior Define or Article, a lot of their content they've used to acquire customers over the last 2 years, we've generated in our homes, and then we've given that kind of in trade for product or for discount.
And then people can buy those items. So they can go buy an Article couch, or they can go buy an Apartment 2B chair, and it's a real shopping experience from that content.
Absolutely. So it enabled that transaction, and it helped. I think, the nice thing about our marketplace is we continue to think about, well, how do we, in a future world, right? Great problem to have, but how are we competing with Wayfair? How are we competing with Amazon? Where do we have the right to win? And I think we have this amazing opportunity to show furniture in much more context than those websites can, because we have so many different angles and images of that one product in lots of different homes. So you build more confidence as you're shopping online as a consumer, and you can see it in different light and different ceiling heights, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, that couch feels right for me, versus just seeing product necessarily on white and not the whole story sometimes to help drive the conversion.
Okay, so how many of you have been like online shopping, you see a product on white picture, you're like, wow, that is a great picture of that product, let me buy that, and it gets to your house and it doesn't look anything like the thing you saw? So this is an amazing statistic. I recently learned that we are having the single largest returns year ever in e-commerce on record. This year, 2022, will be the single largest returns year on record. And the largest contributor, about 27% of why we return products, is product image not looking like the product that came out of the box when it arrived at your house. So this idea of having content that actually shows a product in context is so essential, in my opinion. What do you think is making it easier for consumers about those images? Why do those images, and if you don't follow, go onto Instagram and look up Guest House, and you'll see examples of these images. But why do you think your images do so much of a better job giving that context to get someone excited to purchase something?
Yeah, I think the TLDR is it's authentic, right? There's a lot of rendered images. There's one founder, I won't name the name of the company, but there's a well-known direct-to-consumer furniture company that said, believe it or not, look at my Instagram right now, the founder was telling me this, all these images are rendered. He was putting rendered images out there that look like they're in a home to get people to convert. Like, okay, that works to a certain extent, but you start to look at those images and they feel very sterile, they're impersonal, they don't connect, right? So I think the ability, the opportunity we have is we have a real designer styling them, a real photographer setting the stage and capturing those images, a real home bringing the light in. I think we have this really authentic moment that we're capturing, and people can connect with that, and they can see it now in their home, and it doesn't feel like this impersonal transaction. And if they start to see it in homes that look similar to theirs, that starts to now build an extra layer of confidence, and then styling it with additional pieces. Now they have an idea of like, oh yeah, that would actually look good with green pillows or black pillows or whatever. It's not just this stark image on white. You have to put together the rest of the formula yourself after you purchase it. So I think there's hopefully a lot of ways we're helping folks build confidence. And I have a big belief that, when, we win, everyone wins, right? And so as we generate more content and get more customers, I love to see makers putting those images on their site or brands putting those images on their site. And hopefully, industry as a whole, we can impact this return problem long term, because we all care about things like the environment and the impact of the crazy supply chain and return problem is having on that.
Well, the environmental impact is massive, but I actually had a conversation about this exact question of renders too. So has anybody in the room ever tried one of these render sites where you take a picture of your product and then it puts it in like a mountain house and in a Tuscan kitchen? If you haven't tried it, go have fun with that. But one of the things that I was interested in is I went and actually talked to 100 founders who've used these render image sites to find out how to perform. Their return rates were twice that of my stores, my merchants, who don't use them. And so one of the philosophies that I've adopted is renders equal returns. It is not possible anymore. We've become so discerning as consumers. And I think as we move towards more authentic content, more influencer style content, which is the content that your company produces, we see that we actually prefer that. We prefer the unboxing video on YouTube to the rendered product video. We prefer the lifestyle image in a home to the product on a sterile white background. You have had a chance to, really through this modality of creating shoppable homes, see firsthand the emotional reaction that consumers have. Take people into some stories, if you have any, of just people reacting to these showrooms.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting is we started this business selfishly to sell lots of products, right? I remember thinking, oh man, we used to these big open house events where we have lots of Instagram content and market it, come shop the product and show up. And this was 4 years ago. And people would come to the home and tour it, and we'd have wine, and it would be this whole thing. Sometimes like a local bar would do the cocktails. Like we put a lot into these events. And I remember thinking, like, tallying up like how many sales did we have, right, out of this house, and what converted today, and feeling like we failed if we didn't sell enough product, right? But what I started to notice is the homes were converting faster, and they were selling for more money. And all of a sudden, the content we had been producing for products to show these like amazing moments inside of a beautiful home, agents were saying, I want to put that in my listing, and I want that to be part of the Zillow listing, actually, not just on your Instagram. And we were starting to impact $1 trillion market with the content we're producing. So I think people want to connect with products through that type of imagery, but they also want to connect with homes and some of the biggest assets they'll ever own. So I've seen the industry as a whole. We brought in lifestyle photographers into listing photography 4 years ago. They usually shop for Cherry Creek Lifestyle or 5280, and all of a sudden now I see them on retainer with Mile High Modern and all these other places, because people have seen the magic that great content can bring to industries much larger than just e-commerce. So I think it's interesting to see how when you produce great content, where that can end up and how that can impact people's lives. Okay,
so I want to dive into this a little bit. What was the decision like to actually start investing in photography? So you didn't start believing you needed photography, did you?
No, I mean, we knew we wanted to, we knew we wanted to get beautiful product inside beautiful homes, and had this idea where people would shop for product inside homes, right? And so that lent itself to creating moments, and you want to capture moments with imagery. And then you start thinking about, well, how do we grow this business? This is, again, 4 years ago. Instagram was a much different animal then than it is now, and it's still a great channel, but at that time you could get a lot out of organic growth and great content and hashtagging. So we just thought, hey, the best strategy to grow this business at the time is producing great content that'll bring people to our channels and then drive them to the site and drive them to events and everything. So we just started to prioritize content within the business model to just grow and get more agents and get more homes and get the word out. And it worked. I mean, there was a lot of buzz around staging. No one really talked about staging as a consumer-facing thing. And all of a sudden, we were a staging business. People were coming to, the next open house for and drink cocktails and shop for goods. So I think just prioritizing it paid dividends long term in the growth of the business, and now it's just critical to the process itself.
Okay, so I think pretty much every founder I know, especially in consumer, is struggling with all the algorithm changes. They're struggling with Instagram changing. Anybody out there going, what the hell, Instagram doesn't do anything for me anymore? Yeah. Are you on TikTok? You going wild on TikTok? I have a secret for you today. If Alex and I do nothing for you, my company, Suna Studios, we use TikTok. We're B2B. And in a matter of 6 months, we've gone from 0% of our net new customers coming from TikTok to about 5% of our net new customers coming from TikTok. So if you're not on TikTok, get on TikTok. And you would be surprised. It doesn't have to be the content you think it has to be. I mean, our content is chaos. I have no better word for it than that. But I really want to talk about like the digital aspect of your business and the feedback that you received from because you don't have inventory. So this is one of the interesting things about your business. You get inventory from furniture makers, furniture manufacturers. What was the feedback you received from these big brands about what you're producing for them to use on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in the beginning, there was conversations around, hey, we want to be the featured brand in this living room. We don't want to be next to West Elm, or hey, we want to be styled with, this type of look. And we've brought that into our, photographer shoot guides and just pieces of our playbook. But it's really interesting. I'm losing my thought here. It's really interesting to think about how it started with this really kind of one-dimensional, like, yeah, okay, you're going to produce photo shoots for us, so we're going to treat you like a photographer and give you direction and all stuff, to them actually seeing this unique value that we have within our business that they can't accomplish online, which is we can see and touch and feel our product in person as a third party and deliver commentary on it and deliver opinions and be honest and, connect with consumers through that honesty. And I think that's where influencers have really taken off, right? Is we're kind of this influencer, our designers, influencers for them. So now we have a lot of TikTok content where we're talking about our favorite product and why we put that into homes and what it feels like to sit on this couch and all these things, these attributes that you don't get online around a product. We're communicating that now through visual storytelling and video storytelling. And I'm hopeful that's helping with conversion because they've been coming back for more and starting to gift more product and all that. So every brand now that works with us sees the TikTok content and says, okay, can you deliver a few TikToks with this as well?
Yes,
like, yeah,
everybody wants the TikToks right now. Everybody does. And, whether or not it's good for us is an irrelevant question, apparently. So the furniture industry had a boon during the pandemic. Everybody wanted to refurnish their houses, get more comfortable on their patio. And then now we're seeing a real leveling out of direct-to-consumer. We're kind of even seeing a contraction in e-commerce. So the most recent National Retailers Association data actually, I think, showed that furniture shrunk by maybe 2 or 3% last quarter. How do you stay hopeful given that market reality? How do you stay motivated about continuing what you're doing?
Yeah, I think we're going to see in the next 18 months, I think the world of e-commerce is going to look pretty different. I mean, I don't want to predict anything right now, but I think it's going to change a lot. I think we can all agree on that.
Well, that's a bold statement. What do you mean? What do you mean, Alex?
I think it's going to change I think long-term for the good. I think there's going to be some great businesses that come out of this and great ones that change their strategies coming out of this, and hopefully we deal with things like this big return problem a lot differently in the future. I think right now it's about focusing on your niche, right? Like, what are you really, really good at? Where do you have the right to win? That's what I tend to ask myself a lot when you have, you raise money and you grow a business and you're expected to take over the world, right? Well, first things first, like, where are you going to win first? And where do you have the right to win? And for us, we believe that we have the right to win in building an amazing relationship with home buyers in the markets that we're operating in. So yes, we can sell to everyone online. Technically, anyone in the U.S. can buy furniture from our site and ship to them, but they can also buy from Wayfair. They can also buy from Target, all these other places that spend a lot more money to get them there than we do. So think about the right to win. We're really doubling down on the home buyer and figuring out, how do we just give them the most convenient experience ever to move into a home, and it's just set up, it's beautiful, they don't have to pay for an interior designer, they're saving on assembly fees and assembly costs. We have the right to win there, right, on the convenience side. And then we have the right to win on pricing. We circulate this inventory through our homes. We are able to discount it because it's been paid for after a certain amount of homes, and we give people access to amazing direct-to-consumer brands at a lower price in a very sustainable, circular way of building the business. So, that's how we're focusing on this next period of time, is just solving this big pain point, for the home buyer. Yes, we're focusing on furniture shopping, but specific to the home buyer, and I think that's what's going to get us through this period and make us a better business after we're all out of it.
If you have all been able to pay attention to what we're saying with the amount of chaos that is going on this side of the building, thank you. I'm impressed by all of you. Thank you for giving us your attention. Thank you for giving us your honest to God brain space, because I'm having a hard time not noticing the chaos over here. And so, okay, let's talk about direct to consumer. So direct to consumer has kind of been in this 10-year boom of everybody's talking about direct to consumer. We've now seen that the vast majority of direct to consumer venture-backed companies haven't been able to generate a return. You're taking a totally different approach by not being a direct to consumer company, but help facilitating these transactions. Any predictions about the future of direct to consumer?
Oh man, I think the best products will survive, right? I think things that are truly improving people's lives and truly, quality, truly great customer experience and customer service, I think that's what's gonna, shake out as we sift through the sand. And I hope that's what happens. But, no one has a crystal ball. That's my hope. I also think ones that are thinking about more sustainable growth strategies outside of paid social are going to survive as well, because I think some crazy statistic that don't quote me, but I saw this on LinkedIn, so this isn't vetted, but like
so take this with like the LinkedIn size asterisk.
Yeah,
is
LinkedIn.
That what it is?
50% of funds raised go to Facebook. So the amount of money that's spent on that platform to grow your business is astronomical, and Facebook knows it. And the returns, the ROAS have been going down a ton over the last 6 months. So I think anyone that's hedging, the future of their business on those platforms should really, think through what their long-term strategy is, because it's proving that a lot of these companies are burning out and running out of cash, and then they can't continue to grow and distribute their products. So.
Okay, if Facebook and Instagram are losing their steam, where's one platform you're spending energy at Guest House?
I think TikTok's interesting. I don't know it very well, but my team has been doing a lot of content, and we're getting a lot of requests from brand partners to be on there. I think Pinterest is interesting as well. I think that's a really interesting platform that still has really quality content without being flooded by advertising. Those two for me on the consumer side are probably the most interesting.
All right, other than social, any other growth mechanisms that you think e-commerce brands, your partners, should continue to explore?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, for us, we're a little different, but what's worked well for our playbook has been a B2B outbound sales motion, where we've built a B2B team of account executives and sales development reps, and we have a head of sales. And we've just found out that one-on-one, if you have a high repeat rate with your customer, that one-on-one interaction's worth it. Calling people, texting people, and emailing people surprisingly breaks through. Actually, it shouldn't be surprisingly, because they're so flooded with advertisements all day, right? So now you're actually getting a human reaching out and talking with you and sharing the brand. I'm not sure if that, it depends on what your LTV is to justify the customer acquisition cost there, but for us, it makes a lot of sense. But I think continuing to do, unique opportunities with, influencer marketing and more low-cost ways of generating content to get through this period, and, exploring that. I think just because these algorithms might not have the same returns they did 6 months ago, don't abandon content. Keep pushing that, keep investing in amazing tools for that. And I think it's just about pivoting to the right platform to see some sustainable growth.
Text message marketing, annoying or great?
I think it's great. I'm meeting with Ed Hallen, who's a co-founder of Klaviyo. I'm getting breakfast with him next week, and we use that tool. We're actually going to introduce something in our homes where we've tested a lot of stuff where we have this big challenge of we stage homes and then we want you to shop them, but most people in the room would never think they can just walk into a home and shop it. So we have a big awareness problem in general as we've grown the business. And so we put lots of signage in homes, we've framed signs in homes, we've done a lot of exploration there, and we tend to see agents stuffing things in drawers if they don't like exactly how it looked, and there's just a lot of interesting dynamics there. So we've thought about it more, and we're going down the path now where we're going to have this really interesting conversation with anyone who tours in the home can see a sign that's like want to shop the home, text us, and then you can text a number, and then we can have these automated, in the beginning automated, but if it's qualified, this real one-on-one conversation with potential customers that I think is magical, and they're going to power that. So I just love the idea of brands communicating with consumers over text. I think is really cool. I'm excited to go down that path, and obviously imagery is important still within text messaging, but everyone gets text messages, everyone gets email marketing is another one as well. I think all of that can be justified long term.
All right, video. Do brands need to invest now?
I think so, for sure. I think video is amazing, and there's just more and more platforms that crave it. So I think the more you invest in it, the more you'll see returns on video. I think Instagram continues to prioritize that in their feed, and I think TikTok's obviously, that's the main form of communication there. I see it more on LinkedIn. So I think there's a lot of places that video will be a great investment for your business long term.
All right. This is the part of the show where you get to ask Alex a question. So any questions from the audience? You can ask me a question too. I'm happy to answer questions. Oh, how do you deal with lost or stolen?
Oh, that's a good question. Number one is invest in Nest cams if you're doing any shipping or receiving. So we have a lot of security at our warehouse, and we understand what's going in and out. I think.
Well, you're rare in that you're running your own warehouse versus a lot of. How many people in this room are running their own warehouse versus having a partner 3PL? Okay.
Nice.
So you're investing a lot in security in your own warehouse.
Yep. Totally. I was like, he left. He's out. That's a power move.
He hated the answer.
He made it easy on me because I don't know if I have a great answer. And I think lost and stolen, obviously, have a great relationship with your vendor. I think you're talking more B2B here, or are you talking with consumers?
Because I do D2C, and I'm shipping to customers.
Got it.
So, we've recognized a big issue is USPS screwing our packages into our customers, so they get lost, stolen, damaged, return to sender. A lot of times we need to angry customers. So not only are you dealing with the cost of losing that product, but you're dealing with the cost of losing that customer that you paid to obtain. So it's like, what's the solution?
Yeah, I think in general, we work with a lot of dropship. So a lot of our partners are handling the supply chain of the delivery side of things. But in general, when we've run into that problem, and this is just my perspective, it's always prioritize the customer. So just believe them and issue the refund, and they're going to pay you back long term. There's an interesting quote by the CEO of JetBlue that he said that customers don't love you because you gave them the perfect experience. Customers fall in love with you because you mess up and you fix it. So I think that's the way I think about growing a company.
There's also a lot of new innovation in last mile delivery, which helps give you more visibility into that last mile to the door. And so if you haven't, I went through Techstars with a company called Viho that does last mile delivery. There's another one I think called Ship Hero that's doing last mile delivery. And so there's a lot of companies now that are trying to take over from UPS that section from the final stop to the door because there was so many problems. There's just so many problems with packages getting lifted. So check out a company like that. It might actually be worth it in the long run.
I actually asked because we're building software to help them deal with it.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, let's
Great.
talk then.
Up here.
Oh man.
Tech stack. What is the one tool in your tech stack that you cannot live without?
Like me personally, or our customers, the company? Oh man. Honestly, it's not part of the platform we built. I mean, it's integrated into it, but HubSpot has been an amazing resource for us as we grow the business and think about both, supporting our sales team to acquire faster and better, but also think about how to re-engage customers. They're building more and more tools into HubSpot, and there's Salesforce. There's a lot of other options for running CRM, and I think HubSpot has just been the best player for us.
And I'll just say, if Suna isn't in your tech stack, my fabulous virtual photo shoot company that helps you make professional photos and videos for your e-commerce store, we would love to be your favorite thing in your tech stack. Yes, over here.
I don't know if you do abandoned cart stuff. I'm not sure how you address it when it happens. But I'm debating integrating this new solution that takes the addresses of the customers that have abandoned carts and sends them physical postcards, offering them a discount code, and supposedly they're seeing about a 40% conversion rate on those postcards. And I'm wondering if that's something you guys have implemented or heard of.
Before you respond, let me
Take it.
Well, let me just tell everybody what she said.
Okay.
Okay, so she's asking us about a new set of companies that have emerged that will take your abandoned cart data, extract any customer that provided you a physical mailing address, and send them a postcard with a coupon code. And if we've tried it and if it works, I have not heard of anyone trying it, but I have very crazy feelings about the USPS path. So I can go down that rant, but
Oh yeah, I don't know if we're mind melding or I'm going in a total different direction. But quick question for you: how many abandoned carts would you say you have a month, or customers with abandoned carts? A few hundred. How strong is your writing hand? Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking through that. I think that's really nice. I think there's tons of great tools out there to retarget folks, and I love the idea of direct mail. I think that's coming back. I think people are starting to prioritize that again, and it's breaking through. I think it's worth testing. I think if there's not a huge amount of people too, if you're able to get the information and export it, if you have a few hundred a month, depending on how much time you have and how your hand's feeling, maybe you handwrite those too, right? I think that could be interesting.
Because ideally, if it showed the product that they were looking at, that would be so eye-catching right there.
Yeah.
But just putting your cart in
well, there's a bunch of brands too that are sending. So just anecdotally, there's also Attentive has a new plugin where if you have something in your cart and you abandon cart, they'll text message you the product.
my conversion on text message abandoned cart is super low.
Right, but you're saying 2 to 3%. Just so you know, hey, congratulations. That's effing great in direct to consumer. That's considered fan-fucking-tastic. So I mean, you can beat yourself up about it, but it's it's two math equations. Either send more people to abandoned cart and hope you stay at 2 to 3% forever, or try to work harder on getting those 2 to 3% up. I just want you to know, anecdotally, 2 to 3% conversion rate on a direct-to-consumer Shopify store, Squarespace store, that's high. That's a good number. So I wouldn't overthink that number too much. I would think more about what are my strategies for overall building the community of people who are purchasing from me. I also just want to say, I'm in this very weird situation right now where I'm receiving an insane amount of mail about every product on earth because I am 8 months pregnant. And they sell pregnant ladies' data like it's crack. It's unbelievable. It makes me hate all these companies. Good, F you forever, F you forever, F you forever, F you forever. Because it just shows me a total lack of respect for my data and integrity for my data. And I think what Apple is signaling to us, and I think this theme we talked about earlier about Facebook not being as effective as it used to be, is because we are in a privacy revolution right now that is quietly gaining steam because of what Apple's doing. And so I would just think about, when you consider what you want the brand associations to be, do you want to be known as a brand that respected someone's privacy, or do you want to be known as somebody who didn't respect someone's privacy? I think that's an important question to ask. Send them a couple emails, send them a couple texts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something kind of insane that I did in the early days of my company is all our abandoned carts. I went, and if they provided us an Instagram account, I went and sent them a personalized video from me. I did about 300 of them in the first year, and about 20% converted. So, yeah, because their company Instagram isn't hard to find, right? Their company and it's just one layer removed from like my house. So, all right, right here.
Question about YouTube ads. You mentioned TikTok. I do a lot of YouTube ads. I'm just curious, like, what type of YouTube ads you may have tested, and if there was like a specific creative. You talked about unboxing, which I tested. But I was just curious if there's any other creative YouTube ads.
Yeah, what type of YouTube ads are working? Have you used YouTube ads?
We haven't. I think just, on our end, we're a little B2B to C. So in the beginning, first raised money 2 years ago, we tested acquiring realtors through paid advertising online. And it's just our strategy B2B is a little bit more effective there. We do create content that people can repurpose into YouTube ads. I've heard good things. I think especially as more and more folks cut cords and go onto YouTube TV and head in the Hulu direction, I think it gets interesting too because the cost to compete is so low. So I'd say it's definitely worth testing, and Google's always been good with transparency and ad performance and all that.
YouTube ads are in our playbook at SUNA, and it's something that we see anecdotally a lot of our founder-led brands start with. So a couple things that we see right away that work far and away better than anything else. Human being talking in the ad, like has to be a person, can't be like an animated character or, artistic, esoteric kind of thing. So start there with a human talking in the ad. And then the second thing that we consistently see is anything that is remotely funny or useful. So if you can use comedy or how-to usefulness, that seems to be the magic combination. If you can get them all together, you've got a winner. Yes?
On that note, what duration have you seen the most success?
Anything that can go 15-second click through to a full 30. So when you're on YouTube and you see 5 seconds and it says any ad that works by itself for 15 seconds, but then feels even better at 30, those are the best ones in terms of conversion rate right now. In fact, I have a friend who started running ads on YouTube and Hulu, same ad, and in the first day of running that video ad of a person talking to camera, saw Black Friday sales numbers in August. So, try putting person in the ad first and then really focusing in on that usefulness or funny, I think, is the key. Up there. Hey, you're going to have to yell for me, friend.
Hi, so from a visual artist perspective, I do mythical, surreal artwork. Say I'm doing a video, I'm working on my site and all that stuff, and engaging on social platforms. You work with artists, like what would be your suggestion for getting them to get to the site and purchase arts and art products?
Yeah, so for visual artists, what are some suggestions for getting traffic to the website for people to purchase art? Okay. I have something great for you. There is a trend on TikTok right now, it's happening right now, of people doing curated galleries of artists' paintings and objects and textiles, and this is a current trend. Top 5 lists for new art for your home. I would get yourself, 4 of your friends, to just all do this every day on TikTok for a week. You'd be surprised. I met a woman from Kansas, and let me tell you, the galleries in Kansas are just busting at the seams with artistic opportunity. Sold out her entire catalog in 2 months on TikTok using this particular current trend and strategy. So you, 4 friends, you all go make a video of your 5 favorite pieces of art you can buy right now online, and then you share each other's videos and just keep at it. TikTok's all about consistency. If you do it every day for about 2 weeks, that's kind of when you start to get a little more momentum. So try that. Another thing, don't underestimate Pinterest. There's a lot of chatter right now that Google might buy Pinterest as a visual search engine to help improve the product. And so there's a lot of opportunity right now on Pinterest as an algorithmic space to just be getting your work out there. And then finally, look at companies like Guest House and look at other opportunities where you can partner with people to put your art in context. Have a friend borrow something and take a bunch of pictures and then post that on social media. Getting third parties to talk about your work is a BFD if you can get it done. So try all that stuff, my friend, and I wish you luck. All right, last question. Yes? I didn't see it.
So with so much of your business being high touch, meaning you have designers, you have photographers, there's lighting involved and making sure that the shot is great, and then the volume of content that you guys produce. Can you tell us a little bit about how you manage overhead just with that piece?
Yeah, that's a
How have
great
you managed
question.
overhead of creating content?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the short answer is, and the annoying answer, I realize that, is technology. So we've built technology that makes it very easy for those parties to get kicked off on a project and collaborate and execute it in as little as one business day. So we are making sure that, hey, we've built a platform that the photographer has an idea of, the address, the shoot guide is handy for him or her, and they can go and capture that beautifully, right? And then the designer has an idea of when the photographer's coming to make sure that it's styled after they install the home and it's ready to go. And then the team has the ability to upload that content the moment it's done from the photographer, and then the agent gets a text message and email, hey, your photos are ready. So it's a lot of things in the back of the house that are happening, but just like a kitchen on the front end, it's coming out on a beautiful dish and hot and quickly. So we're continuing to build out our platform to bring in multiple parties to deliver content magic like that, and literally as little as a business day. So we get kicked off on a staging, they need it the next day, it can be photographed later that afternoon after the product's in there. So it hasn't been easy, but we're continuing to think through how do we make it even faster and more magical.
Do you sell a product?
I do, but I'm also a creative director, so
Well, I don't know what you're waiting on. You got to try Suna, my friend. My
Yeah.
company, Suna, allows you to plan a photo shoot in like 10 minutes online. Then you ship us your product, or you walk into our Denver studio here on South Broadway, have your photo shoot. You get to creative direct while a crew does everything else. You get to pick everything from the kitchen to the living room to the pillows to the plates. And then on top of that, once you purchase your assets, which are entirely a la carte, you pay $39 per photo, no minimums, no maximums. And whatever you buy, we'll deliver them tomorrow. And if you use my name, Liz, L-I-Z, at checkout at book.suna.co, you'll get your first photo free.
Have you done this before? I mean, that was...
Oh, Lord, Alex, I've been doing this for a minute. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us here at Denver Startup Week for this fabulous conversation about creativity and commerce. Let's give a round of applause for Alex.
Thank you, and thank you, Liz.